Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. I am going to talk to you guys today about Christmas budget. This is something that comes up every year, and I didn't talk about it last year, but I did do a video about it 2 years ago, so I figured I would do one for this year. Christmas budgets are, I feel, something people are really interested in hearing other people's just ways that their family does it, but I feel like it's also something that people tend to avoid talking about, because anything with money can be a little bit hard to share with people because you don't want to be judged, or there's so much kind of stigma with it. So thankfully in this space, I feel like we can talk about all those things and nobody feels judged and it's not weird. So I really enjoyed making this video when I did a couple years ago, and I think you guys really enjoyed this. So here I am again talking about our updated Christmas budget. Now, before I dive right into things, I figured I would introduce myself because in these Vlogmas videos, I usually get a lot more new viewers. So hi, my name is Rainbow, for real, and I am a mom of 2. I'm a wife and a small business owner and all sorts of stuff. I've been on YouTube for 5 years, so quite a while. I've been here just chucking away, posting vlogs. We've built up a really lovely little community of wonderful people, and I'd love for you guys to be part of it, all of you new viewers. So if you would like to, please subscribe. I love meeting new people and having conversations. I've met so many amazing people that I even have pen pals from YouTube now, which is so cool. I also want to mention, I really hope this video's lighting is okay. I tend not to film videos by the Christmas tree at night because I did a couple years ago and I think they reflected off my glasses, or it was a little weird, but it looked okay in the camera, so I hope that this is okay. If there's any weird lights, I really apologize. And when I see it in editing, I won't do this again if there is. Also, if I'm a little bit robotic, I really apologize. I hurt my neck and kind of my upper back, and so I'm having a little bit of a hard time having a normal and natural range of motion, so I'm kind of robotic and trying to turn my whole body. But anyway, without further ado, let's chat about this. So like I said, it has been a little while since I've talked about this. I think it was 2 years. So my kids are now 9. Yeah, 9. I almost said 9.5. Not yet. 9 and 5.5. So they're getting bigger and things are different. There are so many things to talk about when you talk about budget. So I'm trying to remember, make sure I hit all those ticks. I think I'll start off by saying, obviously, a little PSA. I don't think we need this, but I think it's an important reminder that every family is different. Everybody's family celebrates the holidays different, whether they celebrate it at all. So I think it's important to keep that in mind when watching these kinds of videos. I love watching these Christmas budget and Christmas Vlogmas, what I got my kids for Christmas and decorating and all these sorts of things. I love these videos. So maybe just let's keep in mind while we watch these that everybody does it differently, and that's okay. Some people go crazy, some people want to keep really minimal Christmases, and that is all wonderful. We've done a little bit of everything. We've had Christmases where we did the 4 things. Everybody knows about that. I feel like the want, need, wear, read. I think I got that right. It's been a while for us. So we've had Christmases where we've done really minimal things, and we've had Christmases where we just went absolutely crazy, and now I feel like we fall somewhere in the middle. But for us, it really depends on the year. So since I'm talking about our Christmas budget, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about our family and how this works and how we figure out, oh, that was my dog's tail, of what we're going to spend on Christmas each year. So for us, it definitely varies year to year. So we do not have any debt, and by that I'm not counting our car payments, just because I know my husband counts that as debt technically, but I don't. So yeah, besides our car payments, we don't have maxed out credit cards, and we don't go into Christmas knowing that we're going to be paying it off for the next few months. It's not how we choose to do Christmas. So I feel like that's an important thing to mention when talking about budget videos, just because I want to be really transparent with you guys, and I just want to chat with you guys about this very honestly. So that definitely affects, and that's why it depends on the year, and how well we've done financially for how much we spent on Christmas, obviously. And for anybody who is new, I didn't mention this. Did I mention this? I don't know. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I don't work. I have a very brand new little baby tiny herbalist business that I just started this year. So yeah, my husband is our sole breadwinner at the moment. And that's how it works in our family. So every year's a little bit different. I probably didn't talk about this last year because last year was a really hard year for us. My husband was laid off from his job that he'd been working at for 11 years. And he was laid off for 8 months, and then he got a job in the fall, and he had only been working for 3 months when Christmas rolled around. So last year was totally different, and I think that's why I avoided this subject, just because it was a little bit, I didn't want to have to lay out our whole story or like everything that was going on behind the scenes to be able to talk about a Christmas budget. So this year we were definitely in a much better place. Yeah, so it's a totally different situation this year, and last year we were super blessed by a lot of different situations that came up, and I might talk about that. I'm gonna ask my husband how he feels about us chatting about that, and maybe that'll be a video. Sorry about that, we had a dog interruption. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Okay, to sum all of that up, because I'm a talker and can go on forever, it varies year to year. Just because we live the way we live and the way we keep our finances, we don't say like, oh, this is our budget forever. Also, as kids age, it changes. It gets more expensive the older they get, because they want smaller things that are more expensive usually, or like more specific expensive things. And I'm not saying that they get everything they want, but that's just kind of the way it is. If you're a parent and you have older kids, then you know this. Another thing that I think is worth mentioning in this video is that we don't spend a lot of money on toys and like entertainment purposes items throughout the year on our kids. We have always just saved Christmas and birthdays for those things, just because we feel like it makes it more special, and we live in a really small space, so buying toys and games and all sorts of stuff all the time throughout the year is just not practical. We are kind of in the middle of things where we try to be very conscious of what we purchase. We try and be conscious of what we're using and how much we're putting out. We try and be as friendly to the environment as we can. And obviously I definitely allow myself, especially because I put a lot of pressure on myself to be really like environmentally friendly as much as, and make those good choices as much as I can. But at Christmas I definitely let myself relax a little bit, just because it's like one special day. I don't do this any other time. Okay, let's just give you straight numbers. So normally we spend probably $200 a kid for Christmas. That's kind of the budget we assign them, and that does not include stockings. That's just for Christmas gifts. But again, sometimes that's less. Last year that was less, I think, because we were in a tighter spot financially, and some years it's been more. I would say on average it's about $200 to $400, because some years we're doing really great and we're closer to the 400 end, and some years we're just doing normal and we're closer to like that 200 mark. But with saying that, it is getting harder, because every year, like, I haven't done my Christmas shopping yet. I've bought like one thing. Did I just say I've bought one thing? I have purchased one item so far, I think. So it's a little bit hard to say what I'm going to spend when I haven't gone shopping yet, because I feel like it gets more expensive every year, just in general. Like, toys and items are more expensive each year, I feel, or maybe that's just what they're asking for. Baby and toddler toys are a lot cheaper. So yeah, once you get up to like Legos and, you know, like cool craft kits, or like a specific toy that does this thing that they love, it gets a little pricier. So I'm just giving you a very average number to satisfy you for this moment. I think I'm only going to talk about the kids and their stockings because Christmas is very unpredictable in price. I feel like there's a lot of, like, it adds up really quickly. If I included everything in my Christmas budget, it would be, like, I do budget those things, but I don't sit down at the beginning of the year and be like, or at the end of the year and be like, okay, this is how much that I'm spending on Christmas, and that's it, like, not a penny more. That's not how we really do things, just because we're very fortunate and we don't have to do it that way. Maybe not last year, but in general. So, like, I make cookie tins and treat tins for, like, everybody at Christmas. Friends, family, coworkers, people that help us throughout the year, the mailman, like, the farmer we get eggs from. I love to do that for people, and so that is a bit of an expense in itself, so I don't include that. Like, there's just too many variables. I'm not, like, and we don't know how much we're going to spend on family members every year when we get together with them, so I'm just going to focus on the kids and stockings, and I think that's fair. Okay, I apologize. I've been talking a lot about a lot of, like, things surrounding this just because I feel like there was a lot to cover or mention, or there were good things worth mentioning. So for specifics, honestly, this year is hard. We don't have a budget this year, and that's just because we're in a more fortunate position. I think we'll probably end up spending close, if I can predict, I might surprise myself, I think we might end up spending closer to the 400 mark, if I'm being honest with myself, for each kid this year. Just because they pared down on so many toys, and we've kind of, like, it's kind of like a new level almost, where they've said goodbye to a lot of toys that they're not into anymore, and they're kind of ready for this, like, next stage of toys. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like when you leave the toddler years, you get rid of all the toddler or baby toys and you get them toys that are more age appropriate. So I feel like we're kind of in one of those phases right now. But again, it's really hard to say because I don't like buying junk toys. I will buy them what they like if it's what they are really into. Like, so something like a plushie that, like, lights up or something. Like last year I bought Grayson, my son, my youngest child, who is a son, I bought him this, like, Pikachu that his cheeks light up, and although that might be a junk toy to some people, that is his lovey, and he has carried it around every single day for a year. So when I make purchases for my kids, I try to be really intentional, and get things they will really love. Like, one year we got Mackenzie this big, gorgeous dollhouse for her Barbies. She's a huge Barbie person. She loves Barbies. And I think we got that for her, like, 3 years ago, I don't know. I talked about it in one of these vlogs. If you go back through my Vlogmases, I've been on YouTube for a while, so it's there. But she still plays with that item every single day. So I am quite happy because very rarely do I flop on getting my kids a gift and they're like, this really isn't for me. They also donate throughout the year and stuff like that, and we, like, donate toys and pass them down. I don't like buying things that can't be played with for a long time. Like, it can't be refurbished or passed down to somebody else. You know, I'm sure a lot of you feel me because I know a lot of you are the same way. So this year I say probably closer to 400, but I'm not sure because every year we go Black Friday shopping, and now I'm Canadian. For those of you who don't know, I feel like I'm always saying, like, I'm Canadian in my vlogs, but that's because I've gotten quite a few new subscribers, and I feel like when I don't say that I'm Canadian, especially at Christmas time, people have questions, or they're like, wait, what? Like, you have this place there? Or, so I always mention it just because prices are different and places are different here, obviously. Like, we've done stores, is what I'm saying. So Black Friday is different in Canada. It is not the insane event you hear on the news like it is in America. In Canada, it's busy, but it's pretty chill. So my husband and I take the day and we go Black Friday shopping together. And so every year is a little bit different. Some years we score like crazy because it just so happens that the things that they are really into are really on sale. And some years it's kind of a flop because the things they're into aren't really part of the sales. So I'm saying probably closer to 400, assuming that Black Friday is going to be a pretty good day. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a pretty good experience, that's how much we'll spend probably. I also divide my Christmas shopping through different chunks of the month because we don't go into extra debt. I don't charge anything on a credit card or anything like that. Like, I pay for it upfront. Everything gets paid for. And we are not broke after Christmas. It's just not the way we like to do things. I mean, I know there are people who do that for their Christmases, like, but it's just not something we've ever wanted to do for ourselves. So I do the big thing on Black Friday, and then usually like a week before Christmas, I know this might sound crazy for some people, but like a week before Christmas, I will usually just like almost take my like second wave budget and go Christmas shopping with that. Because I usually get all the main stuff, and then if it's like, okay, well, because I like to get my kids for now an even number of gifts to open. It's not always gonna work, but it has so far, and it always works out. So so far, it always works out to be that way. So this year, I'll probably, we'll go Black Friday shopping, and then I'll be like, I might need like 1 or 2 things for this person, so that's kind of how it's gonna work. I will be taking you guys shopping with me whenever I can. And I will also be doing probably 2 what I got my kids for Christmas hauls, depending on how successful Black Friday was. I'm sorry this feels so rambly, and I hope it's not terrible to watch, because I feel like it's so hard because we don't have a nailed down budget. We just don't. And I definitely acknowledge and am aware of the fact that we don't have a budget like that because we are very fortunate. That fact does not escape me, so just know that I never want to come off in a weird way in these videos, especially talking about money. It can be a little weird. So, as for stockings tend to be a little more expensive than I always expect. So I usually spend like $100 for both the kids on stockings, but I can definitely go over that budget. So it's like $50 a stocking is usually how I put it. I am a notorious overstuffer for stockings. I like special little toys, and because I don't like junk, I would rather spend a couple more bucks on something that's going to be better quality and will actually last them and they'll be able to enjoy it than I would just filling it up with dollar store stuff. Although I do fill it up with some dollar store stuff. It just ends up adding up. Like, you just pick up a thing here or there, and usually to avoid that, or to try and avoid that, I will go on like a stocking shopping day. I'll be like, I'm going to buy stocking stuff, and I will go out and just purchase all the stocking stuff in one day so I can keep track of it a little bit better. But I definitely will like pick things up here and there, and I put all sorts of stuff in my stockings. Like, some people just do like treats. I do like treats and bath and body products and toys and books and all sorts of things. Anything I can cram in there, I will put in there. As for the amount of stuff that we buy, like, I will pretty much just go shopping and be like, okay, I am satisfied with this amount. This isn't too excessive. We definitely love to spoil our kids during the holidays. It's something Cody and I take a lot of joy in. So I will freely admit that all the time. But I think it's different for us because we don't have a huge family, and we don't have, like, our family buys the kids presents, but it's because our family is quite small, it's not an excessive event. So it's not like they're coming home with like 3 different Christmas lots by the time we've seen all the family on Christmas. So that makes it a little easier. Like, their main loot is on Christmas morning with us. So I think that for some families, I know that like their kids get absolutely spoiled from all the family members, and yeah, so maybe it would be different if it was like that for us, but it's definitely not. And I will add on at the end here, I'll just chat a little bit about Cody and I, because I know people always ask after hearing about our budgets for the kids. Cody and I change how we do Christmas every year, so we definitely get gifts for each other. I know there's some parents that don't. We always, if we can, then we like to. Sometimes we buy gifts for each other. Like, we'll be like, here's your budget, and here's your money, and here's my money, go buy for the other person. And we can sometimes make a big date out of it, and that can be really fun. But other years we will just go shopping together for each other, if that makes sense. Like, we will go pick out things that we like for ourselves together, and then we'll split up. Like, we'll buy it on the day, and then usually, like, we have a rule, we're not allowed to look at any of it again after you purchase it, and then the other person will wrap all of your gifts from them to you. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that properly? So maybe that's a little weird for people, but it's just, again, we really don't like to be wasteful. And not that we think we wouldn't get each other good gifts, but if one of us sees something that we really want or have been like really eyeing all year, or could really use, we find it's better that we kind of shop together that way. That way each gift is like super wanted and super usable and nothing is really being wasted that way. And like I said, we live in a really small house, so we don't have room for things that you might not use all the time that you can just tuck in a closet. Like, we just don't have space for that. So things have to be very well thought out in our house. Stockings, I would say, are probably about the same as the kids, probably like $50 a stocking, although maybe a little bit more for us because more expensive things tend to go into our stockings. Like, I might put a wallet in that I bought for Cody, or I might put some makeup into my stocking, and that can get a little more expensive. So but I kind of keep the same general rule. I keep an eye on how much I'm spending on stockings, and I don't know, I feel like stockings is such a ridiculous thing to spend like a huge amount of money on just because it's a little sock, right? So I always like have that in the back of my mind. It's kind of like a whoa there, slow down. Plus I always just want to try and cram all this stuff that doesn't fit into stockings. I'm terrible for that. If you've watched for a few years, then you know that. I also feel like it's worth mentioning that we have a huge Christmas bucket list that we do every year. So we do a lot of activities. We do so much during the holiday season, spend a ton of family time together. And although the shopping and the gift giving is really fun, we definitely make Christmas about the season, and we make it about like the build up, and it's just like a month and a half long activity list of fun things that we love to do. So our kids are I'm so proud of them when I talk with them about Christmas, and each year it's just getting better and better as they get older. They only ask, like, we just visited Santa and they asked Santa for one gift each because they were like, no, we only need to ask for one thing, and if we get more, then we get more, but if there's only one thing under the tree, then we'll be happy with that. And it always makes me feel really good because then I feel like I can spoil them. not because of that, but like I'm happy that I'm able to spoil my children while also being able to maintain a balance of them being very humble and grateful. That's not always easy to achieve because you can't control children. You just have to hope that you're raising them the best you can to guide them to be humble, kind people. So yeah, that always makes me feel really good, that I know it kind of keeps me in check that we're not going, I kind of use them as a guide, we're not going too crazy because they're still very gracious and thankful. So that helps a little bit. And the only other thing involving the kids and maybe budget is when I fill the advent calendar. I keep that really cheap though, and I'll be talking to you guys about what I put in our advent calendar. Yeah, I don't like it to be too junky of toys, so I try and be a little more creative with it, but I'll share that with you in a little bit and I'll let you know how much I spend, but usually it's like not much at all. So anyway, that was a little bit about our budget. I know this was very long-winded and probably a freaking super long video. So if you're still here listening to me, I commend you and I thank you. You are a great person. If this brought up any questions, if in my frazzled state of trying to remember to talk about everything, if I forgot something or this brought up a question, feel free to put it in the comments below. I love answering comments, so I love chatting with you guys. just let me know. And if it's something that's a little more meaty, then I can always just bring it up at the end of like a random Vlogmas. It doesn't matter, so we can do that too. Anyway, that's gonna be all from me tonight. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys feel like talking about your own Christmas budgets, what you've done in the past, what you've learned, what you're doing this year, whatever you want to tell me or share with me, let me know below. Like I said, I love talking to you guys. I love having those conversations with you. And yeah, as you're watching Vlogmas videos from everybody on YouTube, just, it's good to keep in mind, we all do it differently and uniquely and wonderfully, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not subscribed, do that. That's awesome. I love having more people with me. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.
All I do is adore you all of the time. I like to I like to I like to love you.